Your 20s are the most important decade of your life, but most people are wasting them without even realizing it. You have the most energy, the most freedom, and the most potential you'll ever get. Yet so many people drift, scroll, party, and put off the habits that will shape their entire future. And here's the scary part. The choices you make in your 20s will echo for decades. Ask yourself, are you building momentum for your 30s, or are you setting yourself up for regret? Most people don't know what actually matters in this decade. They think they have plenty of time, but time is the trap. Today, I'm going to break down the hidden mistakes people in their 20s are making right now, and more importantly, what you need to know to avoid wasting these years. Because if you get this wrong, you'll wake up in your 30s wondering where the time went. But if you get it right, these years can set you up for freedom, confidence, and success for the rest of your life. So let's talk about the truth your 20s aren't teaching you, but should. Guess your 20s are not a rehearsal. They're the foundation of everything. The biggest mistake people make in their 20s isn't failure. It's drifting. Drifting looks harmless. You wake up, go to work, scroll on your phone, hang out, repeat. No big disasters. No major wins either. Just existing. And here's the trap. Drifting feels safe. You tell yourself you're figuring it out. But years pass and nothing changes. Without direction, you waste the most valuable currency of your 20s. Time. You can recover from bad jobs, bad relationships, even painful mistakes. But you can't recover wasted years. And drifting is silent theft. One day you'll look back and realize you traded the best decade of energy and freedom for endless distractions. Here's the problem. Most people think purpose will suddenly appear. They wait for clarity. They assume one day they'll wake up knowing exactly what to do. That day never comes. Purpose isn't found. It's built through action, through trial and error, through choosing, failing, and adjusting. Think about it. The people you admire didn't magically stumble into meaning. They started with small experiments. They took internships, built projects, read books, asked questions, and tested ideas. They tried, they failed, they learned, and while everyone else waited for inspiration, they created it. So if you're drifting right now, stop asking, "What's my purpose?" and start asking, "What can I try today that moves me forward?" Try new skills. Start small projects. Meet new people. Direction is built, not discovered. The worst decision isn't choosing wrong. It's not choosing at all. In your 20s, standing still is the only real way to lose. Picture this. Two friends graduate college. One drifts, working whatever job shows up, spending nights gaming, saying, "I'll figure it out later." The other experiments, starts side hustles, networks, travels, fails often, but keeps learning. Fast forward 5 years. One is stuck, still drifting. The other has built skills, clarity, and momentum. Same age, completely different lives. The second mistake people make in their 20s is escaping into distractions. This is the decade where you have unlimited access to entertainment, social media, video games, and endless scrolling. And while none of these things are bad in moderation, they become dangerous when they become your default escape. Distractions feel good in the moment. They numb stress. They quiet anxiety. They give you the illusion that life is under control. But here's the cost. They rob you of presence, focus, and momentum. Every hour spent binging Netflix or refreshing TikTok is an hour not invested into your future self. And over years, that adds up to wasted potential. Most people don't realize that distraction is the new addiction. You don't need alcohol or drugs to waste your 20s. You just need a phone and Wi-Fi. The trap is that these distractions are engineered to keep you hooked. They give you dopamine without progress, connection without depth, and entertainment without fulfillment. Think about it. The greatest opportunities in your 20s come from deep work, meaningful connections, and building skills that compound for decades. None of that happens if your default is escape. A distracted life is a wasted life. The third mistake people make in their 20s is ignoring health and habits. When you're young, it feels like your body will bounce back from anything. Late nights, junk food, skipped workouts. No problem, right? But here's the truth. The habits you build in your 20s set the baseline for the rest of your life. Ignore your health now, and you'll pay for it later. Poor sleep, constant stress, lack of exercise. They don't just hurt your body. They drain your energy, your focus, and your confidence. And while you might get away with it in your 20s, the damage compounds. By your 30s or 40s, it becomes much harder to undo. Your 20s are also when most people neglect mental health. They push down stress, anxiety, or negative thoughts, telling themselves they'll handle it later. But habits don't just apply to fitness. They apply to how you think, how you handle problems, and how you treat yourself. Picture two people. One builds the habit of sleeping 7 hours, exercising 20 minutes, and journaling every night. The other stays up until 3 a.m., eats fast food daily, and never manages stress. At 25, the difference looks small. At 35, one feels unstoppable, while the other feels burned out. Same age, totally different outcomes. The people who thrive long-term aren't the ones who burn out young. They're the ones who build small, sustainable habits early. Sleeping enough, moving their body daily. Eating food that fuels instead of drains. Talking about their struggles instead of hiding them. Finally, the most important truth. Your 20s are not about perfection. They're about direction. You don't need every answer. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start moving, experimenting, and stacking habits that future you will thank you for. Because the compound interest of time is on your side, but only if you use it. Your 20s can either be the decade you regret or the decade that sets you free. The difference isn't talent or luck. It's whether you drift, distract, and ignore your habits. Or whether you build systems, protect your focus, and choose direction over comfort. Start small, build momentum. And remember, you're not just living for today. You're building the foundation for every decade after this one. If this video hit home, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone in their 20s who needs this wake-up call.